Hey everyone, welcome back to the Keep Watching podcast, where we decide what to watch so you don't have to. I'm Sarah.
And I'm James.
And today we're going to be talking about episode 2 of Transit Love Season 2. So James, what you been up to this week? Watch anything good?
Oh, an hour ago I was watching something good.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
New season
So
of
new
Survivor, right?
2-hour Survivor premiere. Tonight. It was amazing. Are you going to watch this season, sir?
Solid maybe. I think my Paramount Plus subscription is running out. We'll see.
Oh, I got you. You're good. In the trailer for this season, there were like 2 medical situations that were highlighted.
Oh no.
Both of which happened in the first hour of the show.
Oh,
jeez. It's actually insane.
That's intense.
Unprecedented amount of medical situations.
Mm.
So yeah, some of that was a little hard to watch, but good first tribal council.
Okay.
So yeah. The idol twist this season, Sarah. They get to the camp, right? And then there's just this cage, like a bird cage that's locked.
Okay.
And it has like a bag hanging in it that looks like it's like an advantage or an idol bag. But they don't know really what it is for sure. It's like it's actually kind of funny because it's like usually you just look for hidden immunity idols and then you find it and then nobody knows you found it. But now it's like you're looking for a key to undo the lock. And then once you get the key, you have to like go get the idol out of the cage.
And then everyone will know.
Everybody will at least know that somebody got it.
Unless they make a little thing to put back and make it look like they never took it, you know?
They could, but I think the point of the twist is that like, okay, you can find an idol, but at least everybody's going to know that somebody found it is the idea. Right. So I like that little twist
that's a fun
on it.
twist.
It makes it more balanced, yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna be a good season. Some good characters already.
Nice. You think you know who's gonna win? You got a
No,
sense
I don't
yet?
know who's gonna win. There's some people I like more than others, but some people didn't even get highlighted yet, so I have no idea.
Fair.
But yeah, that's the big thing that I'm watching now that everybody should watch. The Survivor season 44.
An ongoing recommendation from you.
Yeah, forever. What do you got, Sarah?
Oh, this week I watched Physical 100, which you had talked about a bit last time.
Oh yeah,
I
you actually watched all of it.
All of it.
Oh my god, that's crazy. I'm so interested in what you liked about this show that you watched the entire thing.
Well, I did watch it in, like, normally when I watch foreign TVs or movies or TV shows, I leave, the subtitles on. I leave the original audio track there. But with this one, because I wanted to like not have to read it while trying to observe all the physical stuff, I actually turned the audio, like the what's the word? When they do voiceovers for the dub. That's the
English
word.
Audio on Physical 100. Oh my god.
Yes.
I can't even imagine.
Which made it like a little easier. I could like not be completely glued to the TV the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
So I was able to look away when things got a little too intense, but I don't know. It was just interesting. They put those people through a lot of stuff, and I kind of enjoyed watching people get pushed to their maximum physical whatever while I was eating snacks. No, while I was eating snacks. There was just something about that that's silly to me.
Yeah, I don't think I agree. It's not like I didn't put the dubbed on, but I just think it's a show that you don't really need to put your full attention to. Mm-hmm. It's not like I'm not hanging on every word of like, some strong guy being like, yeah, I really want to do well in this challenge. Yeah, it's not that interesting. But yeah, the production of the show is incredible.
Yeah. And you know how they have the busts of everyone and then they have to smash them when they get eliminated?
Yeah.
Some of the people who got eliminated at one part didn't have to smash their busts right away, and they got put in another challenge to like come back into the game. And the dubbed voiceover was funny because it's like, you have to protect your busts. And every time they came back, they're like, these people protect their busts. And it just sounded silly to me, and I enjoyed it.
Oh, really? I don't even think that was described. You couldn't even say that in the subtitles. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know. The dubbed version was funny to me. So, yeah.
Do you want a podcast about Physical 100? I haven't finished the season yet. I think I'm in the top 20 right now.
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't be an episode to episode thing. If anything, it might be just like a one episode about like the whole thing.
I think we could talk about the whole season and then not.
Yeah.
Like we could talk about a few people we liked on the show, but not necessarily spoil like who's going to win.
Yeah. So I think like something that's a little different from how we normally do it. Yeah, that would be fun. I think so.
Okay. I'm actually like intrigued by like the design of the show to
Hmm.
some extent. I think that would be interesting to talk about because I watched the first 2 episodes and then I like wasn't that into like the head to heads. But then when I got into the team
Yeah.
stuff later, I'm like back into it again.
Oh yeah, yeah. The team stuff
So
was
I
good.
actually like watched the first 2 episodes and then found out that you actually watched the whole thing. Was like what? And then I had to go watch it. I didn't think we'd ever just talk about a physical competition reality show on this podcast. I didn't think you'd want to get involved in that at all. So the opportunity strikes. I feel like we might want to do it.
Okay, fair
Okay.
enough.
All right. So that's an option for what we could talk about.
Hmm.
All right. Anything? We got a lot. I feel like we got a lot of recommendations this week, Sarah.
Oh yeah, well we had recommendations from last week too, and I watched one of those, which is The Glory, which we was the show about like revenge from high school
Mm-hmm.
that we thought maybe was too dark for you, and I'm here to report that yeah, it's probably too dark for you.
Okay.
It's actually only like the first half that's out right now. There's going to be another 8
Yeah.
episodes later.
I think it's in March.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
The
soon.
person that recommended it, Malika must have.
Malika, that's right. But yeah, there's a lot of like teenage girls burning other teenage girls with curling irons and other hot things, and it's kind of gross.
Oh, okay. I'm out.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
No thanks.
But I enjoyed it because
You enjoyed that part, especially.
not that part. I enjoyed the show. Because I don't know, there was just it's funny in that even though it's a super serious show, there's still like these moments that like feel very reminiscent of like the cute K dramas I watch. Like she has the main character has this minion and she's like never had friends her whole life because she went through this miserable thing in high school, and like their relationship starts off very like, yeah, you go stalk that guy for me, get information, and then eventually they like have these cute little friendship moments, and I'm like, oh, she's feeling friendship for the first time, so nice. And then there's
Okay.
like this blossoming relationship with this other guy from her past, and it's like, oh, so cute. And then it's like, oh, maybe there's gonna be a murder. So there's an interesting juxtaposition there, but yeah, I enjoy it. So for people who are not you, I would recommend
Okay.
it.
Interesting enough. So I did check out Lookism,
Right, we got that recommendation too.
which is the animated. I don't know if the animation is done in Korea, but it's like originally voiced in Korean, and the characters it like takes place in Korea. The characters have Korean
Yeah.
names.
That's probably all made in Korea.
I don't know if I should be using the term anime, but to me, it's an anime.
Okay.
But yeah, it basically has to do with like intense bullying also. Which is weird that these two
Oh.
shows kind of exist around the same time. But in this show, it's like this kid who's getting bullied. Oh, it's supposed to be this like weird kind of setup that's like not that different than the real world, but taken to an extreme where like the more attractive you are, the more valuable you seem to be, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So the main character who is deemed to be unattractive, basically, is just getting like really bullied, like intense bullying, like you were describing, like getting beat up and degraded and like not fun to watch kind of bullying. The kind of bullying
Yeah.
that if this was a live action, I probably wouldn't watch the show.
Right, right.
Like you're saying. But because it's animated, I could watch it. But then one day he just like wakes up in a different body and then realizes that like basically there's like two bodies that like whenever he goes to sleep he can like switch between them.
Oh, okay.
So the new body is like super attractive. So he gets to live these like two lives. It's a little weird because like I don't think it's like ever that heartwarming in terms of like people are being reformed. It's just like interesting.
Okay.
An interesting concept. There's like a few characters that kind of get better, but I don't know. I
Interesting.
did enjoy it. I just thought it was really well done and the animation was good.
Okay.
So I would recommend it. Best feature of the having the two bodies though is that he like basically gets to go to school as the attractive guy and then he works like a night job as the unattractive guy. So he's basically awake 24/7.
Oh, jeez.
That's the best feature of the situation.
Okay.
He has to like study for a test or something, like he's just like always awake.
Wow.
So
Sleeping is nice. I would want a nap at some point.
I mean the bodies get to nap, but his mind
I
doesn't have
guess.
to. And then he swaps over to the other mind and that mind is rested.
Okay.
I don't know how it works.
Sure.
we have more recommendations.
We do. We got some listener recommendations. Well, first of all, we got a clarification from Emma on YouTube about Wanbin, the name. Why everybody in Transit Love 2 was all swooning over the name Wanbin. Apparently, there is a very hot actor in Korea whose name is Wonbin, and that's the reference. And I looked it up, and damn, I get it now. He's a very attractive man. And then let's see, what else did we get? We got a recommendation for the show Love Catcher from Watching at Home on Twitter, and also
Rose
an
from
email,
South Africa.
Rose from South Africa. And this show sounds interesting. It's 10 strangers live together for 8 days under the same roof. Some of them are love catchers who are looking for true love, but some are money catchers who have entered the competition to win a prize money of 50 million won. And in order to win the money catchers have to identify a love catcher and partner up with. But if they choose another money catcher, they're eliminated from the game. Meanwhile, the love catchers have to avoid the money catchers so they can actually find love.
Oh, okay. I just read that it was like some sort of psychological game between choosing love and money, so I thought it was like everybody was making the choice, but that's interesting. Okay.
I mean, my jaded heart feels like maybe the love catchers are also just there for money too, but whatever. It's fine. It's probably not that.
But is there any way for the love catchers to make money on the show?
Well, other than like being on TV and therefore maybe foisting that into a greater career.
Yeah, it's weird.
Something.
Like at some point, you know what the show is before you get on it. Like the first season, it's like the contestants didn't know that there was like a secret in the game,
right?
But they probably know by. I think there's been multiple seasons of this love catcher show. Like they probably know by season 2, like, oh, I'm a love catcher, but I know there's money catchers on the season.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
Yeah, it does sound interesting. Yeah, I think that is all the recommendations I have. Are you ready to talk about the episode?
Rose from South Africa also recommended Heart Signal 2, the Chinese version.
Oh, right. I didn't realize there was a Chinese version, but that makes sense.
I assume it's the same format as the Korean version. I could see getting to it someday, but I think right now the Transit Love version of the essentially almost the same show seems more interesting, but based on no one's spoiled the season for us, but people have commented in a way that makes it seem like something explosive is going to happen.
Yes.
In Hearts and Transit Love too. So
had it described as a roller coaster of emotions.
It seems like something more exciting is going to happen in Transit Love than maybe happens on Heart Signal, but maybe it just depends on the season. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So do we want to talk about what we want to do next now, or do we just want to do it at the end? I guess we can just do it at the end.
Yeah, just do it at the end.
Okay. All right. I'm ready to get into Transit Love episode 2, season 2, episode 2. Where did we leave off, Sarah?
We left off with everybody playing the Never Have I Ever game. And I remember there was a spicy question and then the doorbell rang and it was very annoying.
Yeah. And Nayeon was like, oh yeah, I totally am into somebody besides my ex now.
Yeah, and then that just got completely
I don't
interrupted.
even know if anybody noticed it. Is it okay? I thought about this. I don't think we said this in the last podcast. Is this an indication that Nayeon's ex might not be in the house because she was willing to admit that?
It might be, but I think we thought she was probably with Guman. Is that right? I've forgotten who we predicted.
I wrote down what we were thinking at the end of last podcast. You want to go through that?
Yes. Let's
Okay.
get a little reminder.
The obvious one seemed like Yi Hyun and Tae.
Yes.
That was the obvious one.
Did not forget that one.
Then I and you, based on stuff later in the episode, were thinking Gumin and Nayeon.
Yes.
And then based on vibes alone, we said Wonbin and Jisoo.
Yes.
And then based on my theory that people didn't have exes in the house,
Mm-hmm.
and some weird things that Min-gi said, we thought that we big brained it and figured out that Min-gi had no ex in the house.
Yes.
And then that Ji-yeon also had no ex in the house. So that's where we
Just
were at after
by
episode 1.
series of elimination. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But we don't get to follow up on Nayeon's potential feelings for other people because a letter has arrived, and it's basically just everybody has a letter from their ex that like introduces them to the group, and then they all take turns reading it out loud and crying, and that's a big chunk of this episode.
And they must have done this in season 1 because it seemed like the participants were expecting it. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
vibe?
Yeah, that made sense.
This is super embarrassing.
Oh yeah, I would never want to do this.
And it gets really emotional.
Oh yes.
Not necessarily for everybody. There's
Oh, definitely some people more than others. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people crying here, which is probably a good sign in terms of they were pretty invested in their relationship with their ex.
But like, it does for me make it feel like that would make it harder for other people to approach these people to start something, maybe, you know, like they're still like real invested in this old relationship or
That's
something.
true. For some of them, yeah. I think on this show though, the idea is that the show is long enough that
that's true.
people
The
can
length does
kind
help.
of like, you know, they get the vibes with their ex to see they haven't seen each other in for a while. They see where they're at, and then if that doesn't feel like it's going anywhere, then there's plenty of time for
New things.
cross changing of who you're interested in and whatnot.
Yeah.
Super embarrassing though. Don't think I could handle this.
Would not want to do this at all.
Yeah.
I would probably be crying even if it like wasn't a recent ex or anything. Like it would feel like, because you have to theoretically also read this in front of the person who wrote it. Like it's too many levels of just couldn't do it.
Yeah. They mostly say nice things about each other though, like 95 or more %. It's just which is good.
Yeah. Oh, could you imagine if every of these letters was just like shitting on each other? Like, this is a terrible person. Do not date them. Red flags everywhere.
I don't think those are the kind of ex relationships that they cast for the show.
Yeah. It would be a disaster if they did that.
All right, you ready to get into these?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so first of all, Tae seems a little confused. So he directly asks Yihyun, so what is this?
and
Yihyun
she
actually acts pretty good and says, "Oh, your ex wrote about you."
I was very proud that she didn't say, "I wrote this about you."
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I felt. How do you want to go through these? Do you did you actually write down everything?
I wrote down all the letters.
Do you want to say all? You want to just read them?
I mean, we can do. Sure.
Okay. You read them, and then I'll say what I think is big,
okay.
the most important, and then you can tell me what you thought was most important. Okay. First one is Jiyeon.
Okay, so here's her letter. I've never seen Jiyeon depressed. She doesn't have to get drunk to be excited. She's a cheerful, positive person. She can be off the wall at times, and her big reactions sometimes surprises me. But once you meet her and get to know her, you'll see she's a charming girl that no one can hate. She likes soju and Yuko and enjoys listening to Tupac songs. At this point, we get a cutaway to the hosts of the show who are just like, Tupac? What? She must be so old. It was very ridiculous.
Yeah, they said she must be 40.
Yeah.
What the one host said.
And then it ends with, I think a guy who finds her quirky charms cute and can love her for who she is will be good for her.
Yeah. Nice stuff.
Yeah, it's a nice
What ends up being important here, though, is the very first line, right? Where it says, I have never seen her depressed. And then in the confessional, they have like a post-introduction letter confessional for like every participant. Jiyeon is like, no one is never depressed. Like the idea was like, oh, maybe my ex didn't pay attention to me well enough or doesn't know me well enough. If they thought they could say that about me, like that I never get sad, basically.
Yeah, she's kind of offended.
Yeah,
by that.
In a way that it made it seem, or the vibes was that like she was interested in getting back with her ex, but maybe now she isn't. Was kind of the vibes that I got.
Yeah, same.
Anything else you thought was important from that one? That's the only thing I wrote down for that.
That's pretty much it. I have some notes on like Wonbin wasn't looking at her, which at the time maybe felt important, but now he's just a shy boy. He was just not looking at her well.
Yeah.
What would you do if you were in this situation? Your ex was reading the letter.
Yeah, that's important to talk
that you
about,
wrote.
Actually.
Would you stare directly at them, or?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to try and play it cool, right? It's weird.
I think I would be more likely to look at someone if they were my ex.
Oh, okay.
If other people are reading, I just feel their embarrassment, and I'm trying to not like not like add on to their embarrassment by staring at them.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's my ex, you know, I feel like there's a little pressure to like show that you're paying attention.
That's true.
So if you said Wonbin wasn't looking at her, I think that's not the ex.
Yeah, I do have a note that Minji was looking straight at her, but he was like sitting across from her, so I don't know.
Minji, okay. That might be good.
That might be a thing.
We get a lot of clues in this episode in a way that it feels like we should be able to figure it out. I don't know how you feel about your final. I'm assuming you made some final selections after all this data we're about to get.
I think I just got like overwhelmed. I kind of wanted to make like a police murder board with like yarn, but I didn't do that work. So
I just found something that I felt like fit, but I
okay.
had to throw one of my assumptions out the window in order to make it work.
Interesting. Okay. And I just got really excited because we definitely got one of the couples right, because we do get a couple revealed later, and I was like, yeah,
but not the one you think.
not the one you think.
Which, yeah, there's a curveball in my expectations, but we'll see. All
Okay.
right, let's go to the next person's introduction.
Okay.
Mingi.
Mingi's letter is, out of everyone I've met, Mingi has the kindest heart. He always lets me win when we fought, and he always made me feel I was loved. He lived in the US for a long time, so he's laid back. So when you first meet him, it might be a bit flustering, but when you get used to it, it's kind of attractive. And he really hates it when things get serious. So when things get serious, he smiles instinctively. But he smiled often when we fought, so it annoyed me a lot. Please keep this in mind.
Did it say smiled for you? I actually thought it said like laughed. Which is a little bit different, right?
Mine said smiled, but like it could be, that's a similar vibe.
Laugh is a little more intense though.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's less smiling. I don't know what's weirder.
I will say this letter would not make me want to pursue this man. Like if I'm an extra person at this table, I'd be like, no, that's okay.
If you trust the word of the ex.
Well, that is true.
Yeah. I actually like didn't. I did when I was going through these. I was like, I don't know how much stock to really put in this because it's like it's the perception of somebody else who theoretically broke up with them. So I don't know.
Or got broken
how
up.
Great this data is
by them, so they might be angry.
Confessionals, they have confessionals later where people are like, "Oh, like I didn't realize they knew that about me," or they realized that something that like we wouldn't have. Like, how people have that, which adds value, like legitimizes the introduction.
Yeah,
but we didn't get the introduction kind of confirmed by the person that it was about. I didn't put much stock in it.
Well, we did for him in his confessional. He did say that he tried to laugh off arguments before they got too serious because he doesn't like he thinks it's pointless to fight about small things. So based on that, I'm like, I don't think I get along with this man. Okay.
I don't know. I could see why if you were like imagining it in the worst scenario, yeah. But I don't know. I'd have to experience it to decide if it's really.
Yeah, that's fair.
no good. Yeah. Either way, it seemed to me like maybe this couple shouldn't get back together. Like if this is just definitely a feature that Mingi has and she's not feeling it, like it's not just gonna go away.
Yep.
just stop. But we also find out that he lived in the US for a long time.
Yeah.
And because he lived in the US for a long time, Sarah, according to the structure of the sentence, that also means he's laid back now, or it has made him laid back.
I think that makes a certain amount of sense.
My thought here was, so you're saying he doesn't spam hit buttons on the elevator?
Oh, back to the elevator, yeah. Probably doesn't.
We watched a show called Crime Scene, a Korean show called Crime Scene. And they had to like run through this fake crime scene. And every single... It might have been only men. I don't know.
I think it was everybody on the show.
Everybody on the show, like when they had to get on this pretend elevator ride.
No, I think it was a real elevator.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was a real elevator. But like every single one of them, like despite the fact they were on a TV show that had like a set time loop on whatever they were going through, like they were spam hitting the elevator button like they had to be somewhere.
This is the thing I've learned. Koreans don't like waiting for elevators. They want to get there fast. This is how it is.
So if you don't spam hit buttons in the elevator, you're laid back.
Maybe you're a little more laid back.
You're a laid back person.
I mean, maybe.
That's what I thought of.
I love it.
Like if I go into an elevator and I'm not spam hitting the button, they're like, damn, you're pretty laid back.
Got all the time in the world.
Even though I'm pretty sure both strategies take the same amount of time.
One makes you feel like you're doing something, maybe.
But okay. That was the only thing I highlighted. Was the laid back comment from being in the US.
Okay. I did feel like Nayeon was like leaning in while she was listening to him. I don't know if it meant anything, but that's what it felt like.
I didn't take down I probably should have paid attention more to the it's a little I think the reason I didn't pay attention to it was because I'm like, this could easily could be like camera manipulation.
Oh yeah, it's totally fabricated by the edit.
Some of the shots like show the person reading and the reaction,
Mm-hmm.
but if they just show like the one shot of the person, I don't put too much into it because
Yeah, that's fair.
it could just be from who knows what time. So
Also, I reached no conclusion from any of these notes I took about who was paying attention to who, but it
really?
felt like a
Okay.
thing to pay attention to.
All right, who's next? Tae.
Tae. He opens his letter and immediately makes a face like he's about to like laugh about his letter, but also maybe he's a little frustrated about it. I don't know.
Well, the first line just makes
Yeah,
me
the
laugh.
first line. Yeah. And it's even Tae's aura is handsome. And he gets this line out, and then Yi-hyun like immediately like clears her throat, starts coughing, and he stops reading and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And she's like, "Nothing, I'm fine."
She legitimately just looks disgusted by this sentence, which
Which
in
she
all
wrote, right?
likelihood,
Like,
in all likelihood, she wrote this sentence, right? I'm
maybe
starting to-
she's
I'm
regretting
starting to get
it.
confused. I'm starting to get confused, sir.
Okay.
The fact that this is not going to be the first relationship that's revealed in the show, I don't know.
Maybe
I'm just confused.
you starting to doubt it?
I have some speculation based on. Well, yeah, I am starting to doubt it. Yeah,
Okay. They're just so comfortable together.
they're comfortable in the sense that they're not comfortable with each other, but like, there's no reason. I feel like they're not comfortable with each other in a way that like, oh, they have to be exes. You know, that's how I
Yeah,
feel.
yeah, yeah. They're like very forward, I guess. Like,
Yeah, and it's like it's nothing I've ever seen on these shows for people that just met each other.
right.
So it feels like they have to have met each other. Is there this weird? So okay, let's get into the let's talk about this right now. So in the preview for the next episode, there's something where like it seems like one of the participants might be known, or like there's like a couple of the women are like, oh, like I recognize you from somewhere.
Oh yeah,
Did
when
you
they
see that?
reveal their jobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming somebody's a model.
Okay, but is it possible like Tae is that person, and then maybe like Yihyun is being weird with him because she like knows who he is?
Oh, maybe? Or maybe she secretly is Nas, you know, the person she looks like. Maybe she
She
actually is Nas
secretly-
undercover.
I mean, I don't think she. I guess she could be Nas.
It's probably not.
Probably not. She might be trying to become Nas, but
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with another way to explain their interactions besides that they're exes. Just because it's so weird to me that they didn't get revealed first.
Do you think it's possible that they know each other but are not exes?
That was the other thing I was gonna say. Like somehow she knows him and like already has like doesn't really like him
Hmm.
for whatever reason.
But can't like say that she knows him because then that like gives too much information, even though
Yeah,
yeah.
it seems like there's
Maybe?
something, but they don't necessarily have to be exes. I don't know. It's super weird.
It is weird.
But then the data we get later, I don't know. I still with my guesses at the end of this, I still think that they're exes because
Mm.
it's just
Yeah.
that's the most likely scenario. But it's just weird to me that the show wouldn't give us this one first
Yeah.
because there wasn't anything about the exes that they did reveal, which I was like, oh, like I see why they had to reveal that like right now. Like I didn't really
I think
see
it's
why
just
had
because
to.
they cried so much when they read their letters is really what brought them to be the ones they revealed. You know, like they had the biggest emotional responses to their letters.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that is the editing strategy, but they could have kept it a mystery. All right, we're getting sidetracked.
Okay.
Did you read the whole thing of Tae's letter? I don't even think you did.
No, I read the first line.
Okay.
So she interrupts him. He goes, "Okay, I'll start over again." So we'll start over again. Even Tae's aura is handsome. He may seem free spirited, but surprisingly, he likes to plan things and is a diligent guy who has a busy life. And now at this point, he makes another face again. And then it's he can't eat spicy food, so he makes tteokbokki with soy sauce, which is what he did that night, which is why he made the face of just like, "Oh, you're gonna call me out on my tteokbokki I just made. Okay, sure." And says he really likes sweets, so when he's not in a good mood, give him some desserts. Then you might see him smile so brightly, which is rare. And as for the type of woman he likes, I'm not sure about it either.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And then she makes another like Yihyun.
Yeah,
makes
she
another
like
facial
laughs at
reaction.
it. Yeah.
She did have a little thing like in the beginning on the couch where like she has a reaction to like things that she thinks are cringe. So maybe
Mm.
even though she wrote these things, maybe she's like cringing at herself and what she wrote.
Yeah.
That might just be what it is.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he finishes and he says thank you, which is like an extra confirmation that at least his ex is in the room, right? So
Yeah, that's true. And then Tay's confessional, he says something like, "That's when it hit me that we were living together," but he just means like we're living together in this house on this show, right?
yeah,
Not like we necessarily lived together before.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of I didn't fully understand the context of what he was saying, but I think he just means on this show.
Yeah.
Because they were talking about how like he never cooked for his ex before.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, they probably didn't live together, so it's not that weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we still don't think they lived together. He didn't say that they lived together. I just want to make sure.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. He's just like suddenly hit with the, oh, I'm living here with her now, regardless of what happened in the past. Ooh, but we also get a warning on the screen that the introductions were edited to prevent spoilers. So that makes me feel like Yi-Hyun couldn't even keep her shit together in a letter and wrote some like very obvious stuff or something.
That's interesting. Now, but they would have had to be edited.
They would have edited out the
spoilers.
letter itself, you know? Like
I would hope so. Yeah,
Yeah.
because the contestants aren't supposed to know.
Yeah. And I think I saw, like, I don't think the letters were necessarily the handwritten letters. Like, they might have been typed up and therefore could have been, like, edited ahead of time without noticing.
They did all seem to be kind of scripted in the same way, as if they,
Mhm.
they weren't necessarily the handwriting or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Next is Yi-Hyun. Going right to Yi-Hyun after this.
Yi-Hyun is careful when it comes to dating. She doesn't date casually. I think she prefers to getting to know someone for a long time and opening up at her own pace. She might sound curt, but she's soft-hearted and has a big heart. She's used to taking care of other people more than herself, so I think she forgets to take care of herself at times. If she ends up dating someone new from here, I want him to put her first before anything, and I hope he won't take her for granted.
And she cries at that last
Oh,
line.
yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Tae took her for granted, right? That's what we're going.
Yeah, or she thinks that, yeah. She takes care of other people before herself, though, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say she's a doctor or a nurse still. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, that's fair.
That feels
She
right.
did do some proper bandaging in the last episode, so sure.
Yi-Hyun says in her confessional that she didn't think her ex realized the reason that they broke up, or that she broke up with him, I'm assuming.
Yes.
The taking her for granted part. And she seems like she's open to getting back together. That was my read.
Yeah. But she does seem like really regretful that he didn't figure this shit out sooner. It's sort of like if you had figured this shit out, we'd still be together and things would be fine. So there's like a little like edge to that, I think. Like she might be ready to get back together, but she's also just a little bitter about it.
I feel like for a lot of these, I'm just like, they shouldn't be trying to get back together.
Really?
It didn't. Like, there's like some level of resentment
Mm.
for whatever reason in like most of these, at least from the ones
That's
that we
true.
can get the vibes on. And it's like, I don't know. Even if it's unjustified, like if you have resentment with somebody going into a rekindling of a relationship, like it's just not a starting point at all, in my
That's
opinion.
fair. And like there's a reason you broke up. I mean, people do grow and change, but like it's gonna be hard to get over the stuff from the past that's always gonna like be with you on a certain level.
I feel like you can only get back together if you're willing to like full clean slate. Like I'm acknowledging that you're a different person now, and I'm not gonna hold anything against you from the past. Yeah,
which is really hard to do. So
yeah. But you don't even get the vibes that they are trying to do that. It's not,
yeah.
Now, this show is weird where it's like, okay, did Tae ask Yi-Hyun to come on the show and she agreed, but she like it wasn't her idea to come on the show, but she was interested enough to come on the show, yeah. But she hadn't like fully released whatever happened between them in the past, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting.
It's hard to
Let's
say.
go. Okay.
Yep.
Jisoo's up next.
Oh, so she like kind of glances at the letter to herself before she starts reading it out loud, and she like starts fanning herself to like stop from crying right from the beginning.
Yeah.
And the first line's like really hard for her to finally get out, and she's like, Jisoo is the woman I love the most in my entire life. And at this point I'm like, well, fuck, now I'm crying too.
Oh, really?
Yep. I got a little misty-eyed at this point.
They had good music.
They got
for
me.
that. They had good
absolutely.
get you to cry music here.
Oh, they know what they're doing.
I didn't cry.
Yeah. Okay.
I cried a lot more watching Survivor tonight than I did
there.
watching this show.
It continues, she taught me how happy I could be in love and how painful it could be, so I'm forever grateful for that. She always cheers others up with her lovely and cute expressions. Sometimes she'd do hip-hop dances and showing off her unexpected charms. Sometimes Jisoo would ask how much you love her. I think it'll be nice if you prepare an original and witty answer in advance.
Okay.
Like, the start of this letter, I'm like, oh, this is somebody who wants to get back together.
Until you
By
realize
the
it's past
end-
tense. It's past tense, Sarah.
Well, not just that, but at
What-
the end, it's not like if she hooks up with anyone here, it's just like, hey, whoever's taking her, just, come up with some fun answers ahead of time. It's like advice for passing her off to someone else,
Oh, that too, yeah. But Jisoo acknowledges in her confessional the past tense of the word loved.
Yeah,
So she's also thinking maybe it's not going to happen.
right.
The powerful line to me was like, she taught me, this isn't word for word, but he basically was like, she taught me how happy and how painful it is to be in love. It's like,
Yeah.
damn.
Full spectrum.
Damn.
Yeah, this one couldn't have ended well.
Yeah. And Jisoo does hip hop dances. That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
I get the vibe that she hurt this boy real bad.
Oh, yeah.
Real bad.
Yeah. Real bad.
So yeah, intriguing stuff here
hmm
from Jisoo. Next is Nayeon.
Nayeon has all the good sides that only nice people can have. She's polite, she's touched by little things, and she's always sincere to her lover. She's innocent like a child, but during the time I struggled the most, she'd be by my side. Her presence alone was my biggest support. She was a reliable girlfriend. Pause for crying. Nayeon needed a moment.
This first bit, like, you read it like kind of slow.
Okay.
Because she read that first bit hella fast. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh yeah.
She was
I
trying to,
guess.
like, She was trying to like blast her way through it, probably so that she like wouldn't cry.
Yeah.
That's what I was guessing. But then she got
Mhm.
to this point, and then when like couldn't, she had to stop and cry.
Yeah.
But she read that first part like so fast compared to everybody else at least.
Which, I mean, is a decent strategy. Just get it over as soon as possible. I get
It to me at first. I was like, maybe is she like not interested in her ex,
Mm.
and she just is like getting through this? I wasn't sure, but then I was like, oh, I guess she could just be like trying not to cry.
Yeah. Talking in front of people in like this sort of weird setting can like get on your nerves. And when I'm nervous, I talk really, really fast. So I think that's all it was.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then it continues, we shared many good memories, but we also quarreled a lot over little stuff. I'm sorry that I couldn't be more understanding. If Nayeon ends up dating someone from here, I hope it's someone who can cherish her and love her more than I did.
He's sorry that he couldn't be more understanding. That's a weird line. It's not that weird, but it's like, okay, so something happened in their relationship where he wasn't understanding, but now he does understand, or still doesn't understand, but acknowledges that he wasn't I don't know, like what's the status of the understanding at this point?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah. I took it as just like whenever they thought he like couldn't see her side, so they couldn't resolve the fights necessarily.
Oh, you don't
always
think it's like one big issue?
Yeah, I feel like it's just like intermixed amongst the everything.
Okay. Could be anything, honestly.
Oh yeah.
But then Nayeon in her confessional,
More crying.
more crying, but I think the part about being more understanding was the part that she said she wanted to hear most
Yeah.
after they broke up, and that maybe they wouldn't have broken up if he had said that earlier.
Yeah. This is a similar vibe to Yihoon's like, if you had gotten your shit together a little earlier, we would be fine. But it feels like less bitter, I think.
Maybe. I didn't think as strongly as the Yihu one as you are saying, but yeah, I can
Mm.
see that. Next is Gyumin.
It was love at first sight with Gyumin. He may have become more gentle now, but back then he had charismatic and sharp eyes. He was really sexy. Gyumin is a warm-hearted man who had other side dishes instead of meat because I loved meat. And then there's a long pause for him to tear up and get handed some tissues. And then there's a confessional break where he explains this meat thing, which is just like they'd go out and he'd just, he'd save the food she liked for her, basically. But it was
Mhm.
important to them. And then we get back to the letter. He helped me become a better person and stood by me with the same mindset like a pine tree. There are many things I felt bad for him. Gyumin was such a nice man, but he had to go through so much because of me. Since it was really hard, I hope he doesn't see anyone new.
That
Which
was
is
the-
a
that was the-
weird way to end it.
Dude, that was the funniest line. Hope he doesn't see anyone new. Yeah, that was good. Which I guess you could. The immediate take on that is that she still has feelings for him, right?
Yeah.
If she's saying that, or it could just be this like
She's just being silly.
possessive.
It could go either way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if I can't,
I don't want him, but I don't want you to be with him either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't say this necessarily, but she essentially wrote that he used to be sexy.
Right. I'm assuming they wrote these maybe before they met again. You know, like they met before the show
I was
started.
gonna say the opposite.
Oh, okay.
Because she made it seem like, oh yeah, he used to be sexy. Then I met him in the cafe and saw that he looks different now. and then I specifically put in my note that he is no longer sexy. But yet I still don't want anybody to have him.
I need to know who wrote this, like, because that's an amazing mindset to come in and write this letter. He's not sexy anymore. I don't want him, but I don't want anyone else to have him.
I mean, they didn't say I didn't want him, but they also showed Nayeon crying, but in like the same shot as him crying. But if they're doing these in order, like Nayeon also just read her letter, so she might still be crying from that. So it's
hard to tell.
Could be something, could not be something.
Right.
Next is Wonbin.
Oof. And he opens it up and he like confidently is like, oh, I can read it, which everybody like laughs at immediately.
That's because everybody else was like staring at their letter for like taking a moment and reading the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then being like, everyone, I'm ready to read it. And then Wonbin just opens that shit up and says like, I'm ready.
But then also cries a lot too. So.
But also he just didn't want. I don't think he wanted to read this shit.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. So it says, Wonbin may look cold on the outside, but he's full of charms. He's like a puppy. He's an adorable man who is full of love. Wonbin is caring and sensitive, so during the whole time, he always took me home. He was a devoted boyfriend who'd always change himself for me. Us to drink tea because he's a little choked up and it's starting to hit him. I was the happiest and most grateful when I met him. So I can say this with confidence that I want Wonbin to stop giving only. Pause for crying. And our final line is, I hope he can receive much more love than he gives.
Yes. The thing about Wonbin's cry though, Sarah, it feels a little different than everybody else's cry to me.
Okay.
Like, it felt like it was more of a painful cry.
Yeah.
And a like rekindling of emotions kind of vibe.
Yeah,
That's how I felt when he was reading it. And then especially the last line, I hope he can give more love than he gives to me. For whatever reason, that line seemed to connect with Jisoo's letter to me, with how like talking about like how much do you love me kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And because we'd already talked about the Wonbin Jisoo, I was more invested in that.
Yeah, 100%.
And because Jisoo's letter really made it seem like she hurt someone bad.
Yep.
And Wonbin was a little painful crying.
Yeah, it looked like he got hurt real bad. I
was like, ooh, this feels like it's a matchup. Yeah, that was rough. That was rough to watch him read that, honestly.
Yeah.
And then we wrap this up, and what do you know, Sarah? It's time to reveal an ex-couple. And I'm like, oh, interesting.
Yes, but just on the show, not to anybody else in the house, which is
that's true. Yeah. But it's not going to be Tae and Yihyun.
The most obvious couple in the house.
They still could be a couple. Maybe they thought the letters exposed this like pretty much 100% also.
Yeah.
And that's why they did this one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that was a big part of it.
But yeah, we're gonna find out who Wonbin's ex is, and we're gonna go back to the shot in the cafe, and the hosts are gonna get like one last chance to guess who Wonbin's ex is before they reveal the cafe meeting.
All the guys on the show are terrible at guessing. There's only one woman who guesses right.
Well, 50% of the women got it right.
But like all the guys thought it was Nayeon, and I was like, why would you think that? This
I don't know.
This
honestly don't know why anybody said anything but Jisoo here.
Yeah.
One of the guys, I think Bam Bam, had some logic that like kind of made sense for his guess, but the other people, I don't know where they were coming from.
Yeah. But surprise, it's actually Jisoo.
Yeah, it is actually Jisoo. Yeah, Wonbin like sits down. Like Jisoo is like the way they did this, like the women where I guess we're waiting for them in the cafe is the idea. So Jisoo's already in there. So Wonbin's walking in and he's like sitting down and he's like immediately like tearing up and like struggling to even look at her, I feel like.
Yeah, and they are like so awkward at first, and like they like it's been a long time, like almost 3 years or something. And he says like he never thought he'd see her again, and sometimes he still dreams about her. And at this point, I was like, this boy is still in love with this girl.
Yeah, and in all fairness to Jisoo, like we're gonna find out Jisoo is the one that invited Wonbin to come on the show.
Yes.
So she must at least be looking to get some sort of closure. And maybe that's all he's looking for too. Like there's just something about how things ended wasn't satisfying.
Right.
But the way that Wonbin acts in this like meet with her, like if I was like just an observer of this, I would not assume that the way that Wonbin is acting is because he's like having some painful experience in seeing her again.
Yeah.
It's not the same as when he read the letter. It's like
definitely.
It's almost like a cute kind of emotional reaction more than anything. Yeah. So I think Jisoo came away from this cafe meeting thinking like, oh, maybe there's a chance.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Which turns out to not really feel like it's the case, although there's plenty of time left in the show.
Yeah, so then we get like the history of their relationship.
Yeah.
And they stuff. Like
the deets here.
Yeah, they dated basically in college, and they met through a volunteer service.
Oh, it was college? Did they say it specifically?
I guess I assumed it was college.
I assumed. Well, they said it's during the summer that they volunteered in the countryside.
Yeah, so in the school volunteer service.
Oh, they did say school. Okay, so I assumed because it was a summer activity that it was like, okay, they must have been students when they were together.
Yeah.
And then one of the photos was marked 2017. I guess that was like at least the year that they went to do the volunteer service, but maybe that's not the official start of their dating necessarily. Yeah. Because we're going to find out that they dated for a year and 4 months.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that they broke up 2 years and 4 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And this is from like 2022. So they must have been friends or at least were aware of each other for a little while before they started dating.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I just had like random notes throughout this montage. What do you have to say?
Well, they talked about the things that like brought them together. Like I think she messaged him first to like move things forward. And he also says that a lot of people were interested in them as a couple because she was like the prettiest girl in the English department, and his name is Wonbin. I feel like his entire life he's been compared to this actor. That's why people are interested.
It's a little something to be like, yeah, like our relationship was just like the biggest news around or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of the sense I got at least from his perspective, he thought everybody cared about them so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Which seems a little self-centered a little bit, but
maybe it was true.
One of the pictures they had from their dating montage was a picture of their 300th day anniversary. Is that a thing?
Okay, so there's a thing. There's like incremental days that are important in a relationship. Like the 100th day is important. Like usually like big round numbers. Like when you're in a relationship, you'll celebrate these days in Korea.
Like, oh, in Korea, okay. You didn't specify that at first. I was like,
sorry. No,
okay.
This is a Korean
it's
dating
an actual
thing.
Korean dating thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like even though 365 is the year, and you'll probably also celebrate that.
Yeah, that's what I was like, wait.
The round numbers are important.
65 days. Get an actual solar cycle or yeah. Okay.
Time is whatever. Korean dating, it's important on like the 100th day, the 300th day.
Round numbers are whatever, Sarah. That's what's whatever.
Okay. I mean, whatever interval you choose to celebrate your relationship, have at it. Have a good time, whatever.
Sure. I'm fine with that. 333rd day, that could be interesting. You never know.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. They didn't live that close to each other though.
Yeah, they're like 30 to 40 minutes apart.
Wonbin, I couldn't tell if it was like both ways or what it was, but yeah, Wonbin like took the subway with her like every day.
Every
to take her
single
home,
day.
Which added 30. It seemed like it added like 30 or 40 minutes to his travel time.
Yeah.
So yeah, seemed like a pretty good boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. And she did
the way
highlight that he even did it like after they fought. Like that's the thing, you know, when you're angry with your partner, still like displaying that you care about them is a good healthy relationship thing, I think, you know.
Yeah.
You don't just storm off.
Yeah.
So all through this, I think just Wonbin seems like a real good guy.
Mm-hmm. And we find out that Wonbin hasn't dated anyone new in over 2 years.
Yeah, this girl destroyed this boy.
And Jisoo has dated 2 other guys. Couldn't tell how serious it was, though. She didn't make it seem that serious.
And he's still the one she called for the show. So
in Korea, like, if you admit that you dated someone, like, what's the minimum length of time?
I don't know.
Because I feel like some people are like, oh, I dated this guy, and it could be like they might. In America, like that could have been like a week.
That's true. I don't know if when she says she dated 2 guys, if it was like I've been in a relationship with 2 guys,
like
or I
like
went on 2 dates.
Months. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure what minimum qualification it took to be considered having dated, but okay.
All I know is you celebrate on the 100th day. I don't know what the minimum requirements before that are.
You date someone just to get to the 100th day.
Sure.
That's the best day of the relationship. Yeah, seems like Wonbin was a great boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and he has completely deleted all of his social media accounts because he never wanted to see her again. Like, what did she do to this man?
I know, it's so interesting. I also feel like I get the sense, like, I don't know, if Jisoo is here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get the sense that, like, I'm assuming, I don't think they officially say this, but I get the vibes that they both, like, their first relationship for both of them. Do you think so?
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Or at least, like, the first big love.
It feels like maybe Jisoo didn't realize how great Wonbin was. Like, because he was the first boyfriend.
Yeah, we don't get a reason why they broke up either. Like, we just know that she dumped him.
But it seems like, at least we're getting only positive things about Wonbin in a way that it seems like kind of crazy.
Yeah,
that she broke up with him.
Yeah,
there's many other factors, of course, and that if she's coming back, my speculation is that, like, oh, like, she didn't realize how great Wonbin was until she dated other guys and was like, oh, they don't actually go to all the lengths that Wonbin used to go for me, because they're actually kind of unreasonable, maybe. But it seems like she's into that. She was like, oh yeah, my next boyfriend will totally, like, do all these take me home 40 minutes every day and tell me how much I love me, like, in cute ways every day, and leave me sticky notes on my textbooks and all this, like, really, like, next level stuff that she's probably not getting from the other 2 boyfriends. Yeah, and the vibe we don't know why specifically they broke up, but it seemed like Wonbin was struggling with something in his life.
Yeah.
At the time that she decided to break up with him, and that may have been why it was so devastating.
Right.
And I don't know if it was like, it's because they're students. The only thing I can think of is, like, maybe he was struggling to get a job, or maybe I don't know if they were still students when they were dating. I don't know.
Or if he's going, like, through a particularly difficult part of his degree or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it seems that way. And maybe she, like, specifically broke up with him, like, because he was struggling. Like, it didn't seem like he was going to be, like, a successful provider, or, like, something that would, like, really hurt, you know.
Or his attention was on other things and therefore couldn't draw all the sticky notes or something, you know, like, couldn't pay him so much detailed attention to her.
But would you really be that hurt by that, though? Like, that seems like, okay, I understand. Like, I wasn't there for you because I was doing something else, but it was like,
I'd be hurt by that if I was, like, going through a thing and it was difficult, and my partner, instead of supporting me through the difficult thing, went, "You're not paying enough attention to me." Laters, yeah, that would hurt a lot.
I guess the way I was thinking about it was way worse. I was thinking like I'm struggling to get a job or finish my degree or whatever I'm doing, and I'm having a really hard time with it. And because I'm not being successful is because that's why you're leaving me.
Oh yeah, that also devastating.
That's like
all
worse.
Of these responsibilities are terrible. Yeah.
Like, I mean, it sucks, like, for someone to leave you, like, because you don't have the time to pay attention to them, but also like that's kind of a fair reason.
Well, if
So
it's
I don't
just
think-
like a temporary thing and you're like
Oh yeah.
busy, like
But-
dealing with a family illness or something, like there are reasonable times in which you maybe need to refocus your attention away from post-it notes that are very cute. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's going to be something more serious than that.
Okay. Solid
For him
maybe.
to be this devastated.
Do you think we're actually going to find out? I don't think we're going to find out.
I don't know. I don't know if this show goes that deep, or like I don't know if how much their privacy is protected in the show.
Yeah.
We'll see. I also got the sense that maybe this is why I also think it's something to do with like how successful he is with whatever his career is, maybe. Because it also, I forget specifically what they said, but I also feel like I got the sense that Wanbin might be doing well now, like successful now, and maybe she heard about it and was like, "Oh, now he's dateable again," or like something. Like this is the vibe I'm getting from this.
Okay.
But Wanbin in a confessional prior to the show
Mhm.
says there's no chance that they are getting back together.
Yeah, and that they shouldn't get back together. Just like this would not be a good relationship.
And I wrote, "So why are you here, Wanbin?"
Maybe he does need that closure of seeing her again, you know, just to like
Maybe. There's something. He might not be willing to say it, but there's got to be something if he's on the show.
and like he hasn't dated anyone since her. Maybe like he needs to push of
That's
being on a
true.
dating show to like meet somebody and try again, you know?
That's true. Yeah, that actually would make sense. Like if he's just like wants to date but can't get motivated to, this show could kind of give him the kick in the pants he needs.
Or he's here for revenge. He knows that she wants to get back together.
It doesn't
and
seem
she
like
wants
he's
to
here
be
for
like,
revenge.
yeah, I know he seems way too sweet to be a revenge boy, but it's an option.
He does say he misses her though, so I'm just saying there's not
Yes.
nothing.
I mean, he did also say he still dreams about her sometimes. Like, she is a big effect on his life.
I mean, you can dream about the people that you never want to date again.
That's true. I guess.
Can't control your dreams. Unless he's talking just like conscious daydreaming or something. That's
I don't know.
I assumed that's not what he was saying, but
Yeah.
And then this was weird, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
We get like part of this montage, we get like a weird like reenactment of them on a date. What am I watching?
I can't believe
here?
they made them do this. They like made them get dressed up and have a photo shoot in the woods, acting like they're on a date. Like, why would you do this to this poor boy who got his heart destroyed by this woman?
Is this future footage potentially of them?
It can't be
going
future
on a date?
footage. It can't be. That's
Why not?
ridiculous. Maybe. I don't know. Because I don't want him to go out with her again. She hurt him too much.
They could both be changed individuals.
I guess
They're
that's
what?
true.
They're like what? They're 26 years old, like max.
Yeah.
Right now. They're not. They're not fully formed people yet.
I guess you're right.
It
I
could
don't
happen.
know.
It doesn't seem like it's going to happen based on everything that happens in this episode, but you know,
Either way, this like montage in the woods.
It's
is
weird.
weird.
yeah,
It's so weird.
yeah. I wonder if they're going to do this with everybody.
If they do it with everybody,
It's really weird
it's a forced thing and it's weird and mean.
and mean.
Mean, yeah.
That's
They're
just
like,
part of
go act like a couple.
Yeah, I mean, they acted really well. Like
Yeah.
you would not. They seemed like they were having a good time. They were smiling and laughing in slow motion. And... but then we get a shot back at the dinner table
Mhm.
where Jisoo was sitting at the table, and then Wanbin comes over and sits right next to her. And then Jisoo like gets uncomfortable and decides to like move over one seat and uses the excuse that like, oh, I'll tell the chef to sit here, even though it's like. That seat was not important, nor is like
Exactly.
a seat that a chef would have to sit at. It's not like the head of the table or anything. It's like
Yeah, and this was before they read all the letters. Like, it's a flashback to like earlier.
yeah,
in the
before
night,
dinner.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
So Jisoo is feeling uncomfortable. Like Wanbin actually sat next to her without even.
Yeah.
Maybe, I'm sure he thought about it, but like he didn't make it weird, and then she made it
Yeah.
weird. So that was interesting.
I feel like when I finally get through this whole show and know who everybody has been dating, I might want to go back to the first episode and
Oh,
rewatch and see how people awkwardly interact with each
Yeah.
other with the new knowledge, you know?
I've actually heard a lot of people that go back and rewatch it once, trying to like see what maybe they didn't see on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'll do that, but yeah, I've heard that people that do that. But yeah, that's all I got for the Wanbin Jisoo.
It was a lot.
Or a couple.
It was
reveal.
Very dramatic. I feel very bad for Wanbin.
Yeah, the hosts were like tearing up, like, "Oh my god!" Like, can't believe they broke up. Kind of thing. Their relationship sounded so perfect, the way it was briefly described.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really the juicy stuff is why these people broke up. That's like the number
Yeah.
one thing you want to know, but I don't know if we're gonna get it or not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we are. But we at least got the who broke up with who and who's feeling extra sad about it, you know?
Yeah. And then we get a little bit of they leave dinner table and chat a little bit before the next event is gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
Still day one, by the way.
Yeah, it's a long day.
Yumin is actually gonna vape, it looks like, with Tei.
Yeah, they're smoking buddies.
Tei smokes, but I think Yumin is vaping. There's also a little weirdness here with like at some point Wanbin is gonna like ask Tei if he like wakes up in shock, like he would like bang his head.
This confused me
I
so
was
much.
I think I figured it out, but I was
Oh,
confused.
yeah. The subtitles are like, would you like to try sleeping on the first floor? And I'm like, you guys got the second floor bedroom. We already talked about this. But then later, when you see them hanging out in the room, they are in the room with the bunk beds. So he's asking to sleep on the top bunk bed and if Tei will sleep on the bottom one.
Yeah, I
like,
thought
I
thought he was like trying to get rid of Tei, like get him to move to the first floor.
Exactly.
But I was like, but that has nothing to do with like how you wake up. So yeah,
exactly.
Like, I eventually
it was so
figured
confusing.
It out. Yeah, eventually figured out he was talking about the bunk beds. It was just like a bad translation. Because Tei says like, "Oh no, I don't wake up. I don't wake up with a bang," like apparently Wanbin does.
Yeah.
When back to the terrace though, where they're vaping and smoking. I got the vibe that like Yumin also is aware of who Tei's ex is. Did you get?
Yeah.
The way Yumin was talking was like
because it's very obvious.
Like Tei was talking about his ex, and Yumin was like, "Yeah, I get that vibe. Like I know exactly who you're talking about." Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll be a little annoyed if this isn't the case, but I'm preparing myself for that disappointment because they were not revealed first.
But does this feed into our Yumin Yihyun like first date theory? You know, like he's like asking about her more or less.
Maybe. I didn't get that vibe from this conversation, but I do still have that vibe.
Okay.
And then in Jiyeon and Jisoo in their room, Jiyeon tells Jisoo that she's only interested in her ex.
Yes.
Which doesn't necessarily mean that her ex is in the house, right? But
that's true.
Not what I expected, though, based on her she seemed annoyed at the I never get depressed comment in the letter. So even after the letter, she's still nobody. Maybe, but she could just not be into the other guys. It's not necessarily like she's hung up on her ex. It's just like I'm not interested in the other guys. So not a ton of information, but it's something.
But it feels more like she's sad and wistful about her ex. Like I feel there's some amount of feeling still there.
Yeah. And then they flash back to, I think it's Yumin and Jiyeon are like talking at the dinner table together. Because they're the ones that cook together, right?
Yeah.
Yumin and Jiyeon. Yeah. So they're talking. It's something about the food related to the food. So they're kind of joking about how they made the food a little bit. But then they showed Nayeon on the other end of the table, like glancing over at them.
Ooh.
Which
does play into our theory.
Plays into our ex's theory. A little bit. Doesn't have to mean anything, but and then we get everybody gets an alert. Sarah,
you
ready?
I am ready.
What are the rules about these alerts?
Did we get the rules about these alerts? Because I didn't have that translated at all.
It's basically just heart signal.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So basically, everybody, you get to send one text to somebody, and you get to send them an actual message. But then they also wrote on the screen that, like, I don't know if this is what they got prompted to answer, but it said, like, who excited you the most on the first day?
Right.
That was, like, written on the screen. But I don't know if they had to directly think about who they text in response to that question. That was unclear.
Yeah, it is unclear.
This works the same way on Heart Signal, where, like, at the end of the night, you get to send, like, one text to somebody, but it's anonymous.
So you have to like pick your phrasing carefully if you want them to actually know it's you.
Yeah, if you're allowed to. So it's kind of like it's basically like the postcards on Singles Inferno also.
Yes.
The same idea. I don't know. Heart Signal was like almost every day or every episode they would do a text at the end. So I don't know if that's going to be the case for the show or not, but we'll see.
It is unclear.
And before we get to the text, though, we get a bit of a silly scene with Ji-yeon and Jisoo in their room, right?
They are my favorite roommates so far. They are having a fun time.
They had to be. They were drunk here, right?
Well, yeah, everybody had been drinking together.
Yeah.
Before this,
I've only seen people act like this on these shows though when they're like really drunk. So I feel like they had to be drunk. But there's a bit of like weirdness going on where they like have the same clothes. Like they like they like look in each other's closets and they like see a shirt and they're like, I have this exact same shirt but in a different color.
Yep.
And then they bust it out and they're like laughing about it. And then they're also like into the same band or something, and I don't know what they're referencing.
Find a bunch of things in common and they're like, wait, are you my ex? And it's just cute.
I don't know why they'd be exes. Yeah, they're more, it's like, are they the same person?
That's
what I was thinking. Maybe they're the exact same person.
Maybe.
Is this a clue that maybe one being will be interested in G?
Ooh, maybe
they're exactly the same person.
Or will he run away because they are exactly the same person?
That would be next level. He would have to be like, I'm attracted to you, but I know why I am, because you're the same person as my ex, and you're definitely going to hurt me the same way. That's all I have, though, before we get to the text.
Well, but we also have a similar scene with Bingi and Human where they have the same stuff, but they are not cute about it. So it is less
I feel
fun.
like they have like their
hair stuff is
hair
like
products,
the same brand.
Yeah, I felt like that's like more coincidental or less coincidental. Yeah, I wasn't as impressed by that. It seems like, there's a popular product, we both bought the same popular hair product, it's like,
yeah, I just wanted them to be cute like the girls were cute, that's all.
They weren't drunk enough.
I guess
they weren't dancing and doing jumping jacks.
Oh yeah, because Ji-yeon and Jisoo were.
Oh, that's after the text, actually. But yeah.
Well, it's after they sent their text, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they were like nervous about getting to the text.
Yeah. Let's get to these texts. This is when it gets good.
Okay.
This is where we get the data where we can put all the pieces to the puzzle together. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Human is first, Sarah. He gets one text.
But then the show says they don't want to spoil anything, and we don't get to read that text, and I'm very angry about it.
Undisclosed text. So basically, but I like this because it's like, I think the detective work that needs to be done on the show is really fun.
Okay.
Whereas like, I remember on Singles Inferno, they would just make it like super obvious who sent it to them.
Mm-hmm.
And which in a way that like, it didn't really take away from the show, but if you like playing the game of like trying to figure out the puzzles, then it makes it a little too easy. So I like that the show said like, hey, they put in a clue that made it way too obvious. So we're not going to show it to you, but hey, Guman got a text. I'm
going to assume it's Yihyun because she has no chill or ability to be secretive. That's my guess.
Oh, Yihyun. Okay. Wait. Oh, yeah. I think that's who I have. Yes. That is my guess for this one.
But then he also gets a second text that says that his ex didn't choose him.
Oh, yeah. Give me that data. Let's go.
Wait. But does that mean that his ex is in the house? Because I feel like everybody gets a text that is your ex chose you or didn't choose you, right? Is there anyone that didn't get that?
Yeah. So the assumption that I kind of threw out the window in order to make my guesses work is that I feel like I'm just going to assume everybody's ex is in the house now.
I just assumed that the show gave us this fake text for our benefit of keeping everything secret.
But is it only fake if, like, it just says your ex didn't choose you because your ex isn't in the house? But they wouldn't fake you out by saying your ex chose you, but your ex isn't in the house. Okay.
Yes.
It's still possible, but it made my logic easier if I just said, you know what, I might have been misinformed about some people don't have exes in the house, so but it's still totally possible.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if his ex is Nayeon, right, which is what we said, then his ex didn't choose him, right? We think it was Yihyun sent it to him, and then Nayeon's his ex, so it still could be that.
Yeah, right? But like when we get down to
for other people though,
yeah.
I don't know,
especially because like
keep watching.
When we get to Minji, like it says his ex chose him, And that means she
That
is in
means-
the house.
I
And
mean,
that
she
means
is in the house, yeah.
my theory is wrong.
The theory is wrong. We got that one wrong.
Yeah.
At least I hope the show wouldn't trick us that bad. But yeah.
Yeah.
Before we get to Mingi, though, next is Jiyeon, and she gets one text.
Yes. It's I feel the positive energy from you. And then they have a confessional, and she's just like, I have no idea who this is. Who would send this to me?
But she says, like, my ex wouldn't. It's a weird thing for your ex to send to you. So
Mm-hmm.
she did put that together. And then she
Yeah.
gets a text that says, your ex did not choose you. For this one, I threw out This Is Wonbin because she's exactly like Jisoo. That's my logic.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah, that's who I'm at with this.
Okay. I don't think I didn't pick for most people unless it was like really obvious
Okay.
to me at the time. Yeah.
Then we get Mingi, who also gets one text.
You look serious.
You look serious. That's an incredible text to randomly send to somebody. But
But he also
It's
got
his
it.
ex,
That is
though.
X. Yeah.
So
So,
it makes
that
him-
makes more sense
Yeah.
as a text you'd get from your ex.
yeah, so his ex is in the house,
Mm-hmm.
and if this wasn't his ex, I would have thought this was Jisoo. But we are like the show already told us. If
Yeah.
the show didn't tell us that Jisoo, I don't know. It would have been a lot more confusing if they didn't give us one of the answers. Yeah, so it can't be Jisoo.
Yeah.
Who did I think this is? I have this as Jiyeon
Okay.
because assuming that
She only wants to get back with her ex.
assuming that everybody's ex is in the house and she only cares about her ex, I think Mingi is the only guy that gets your ex chooses you. So
Oh, that makes sense.
it would have to be Jiyeon.
And then all of our couple theories remain the same because they were the two people we said their exes were outside of the house. I like it. It wraps it up nicely.
Yes, it does. I think with the exception that it's still possible that like Nayeon and Gyumin aren't each other's exes and they're just both not in the house.
Hmm.
I think the logic still
Yeah.
fits for that scenario. So
Okay.
yeah, I have Jisoo as the one. Oh, not Jiyeon as the one that texted Mingi,
That makes sense. I
and
like
then we
it.
have Nayeon, who also gets one text.
But again, we don't get to see it because the
Don't
show
get
doesn't
to
want to tell us
Don't
things.
get to see it. Yeah,
But it's not her ex.
your ex did not choose you. And then I wrote that this was Mingi was my best guess for this one
Okay.
because Mingi
Yeah.
had to have texted somebody.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's not obvious between like Wonbin and Mingi who they chose, but that was my best guess. And then Yihyun is next.
She gets 2 texts.
2.
One is thank you for taking care of me, which is obviously Tae because they
Yeah.
cannot be like not obvious about anything.
It better be.
And the other is let's get to know each other,
It's
which
just
I
like a-
have
A terrible fucking text.
terrible text, but I said that was Gyumin because
Yeah,
still running with the theory that they're gonna be a
yeah, I like that. And we find out her ex did choose her.
yeah, because Tae sent
Which
her
means
that
it
text.
better be fucking Tae, or I'm just mad. I'm just gonna be mad.
yeah.
You can't trick me this hard. TV show.
But she just starts like laughing when she gets this text, and she has a confessional where she's like seems really proud of herself that her ex texted her. She's like, "It's only been a day, and he's texting me."
Oh, really?
It's
That was
very
what she
funny.
said?
Yeah.
She's the only one that's gonna get 2 texts.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty impressive.
Yep.
These day 1 texts mean like almost nothing.
Oh yeah.
Usually. And Tae is next, and he has 1 text. It's kind of crazy that almost everybody gets a text,
Yeah.
except for one of the girls, because
There's no like
Because
clear
you got
like
2.
forerunner in terms of this
yeah,
person's
there wasn't
gonna
like
be the most
somebody
popular.
got 3, and yeah,
Yeah. But his text says, "Thank you for cooking and washing the dishes. I'll cut the green onions."
I'll cut the green onions. What the hell? What does that mean?
I have no clue because
I
no
was-
one cooked with him other than Yihyun, and she didn't send him this text.
Yeah, it says your ex did not choose you, but then it was like Jiyeon also helped with cooking, but it doesn't make sense that.
Yeah.
And then she supposedly only would have texted her ex.
Right.
So Tae can't be her ex if he just texted her. So yeah, this was weird. What do I have? I had this is from Jisoo. 'Cause
Yeah, she's the only one
Jisoo-
that's left.
Jisoo had to have texted somebody.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
it does get a little weird here, I thought, with how they edited it, but I think for Jisoo and Wonbin that they didn't text each other, right?
Right.
It was kind of weird how they edited it. So they show Wanbin getting a text, and they don't immediately tell us whether or not it was from his ex or not. And then they show Jisoo, and then they show like both of them on the screen, and then it says your ex did not choose you. But like, I don't know, because they edited it weirdly compared to how they revealed everybody else. I was like, I couldn't tell exactly.
Yeah, there's
what
room for that to be
was.
interpreted weirdly. But yeah, I think it's just neither of them got a text from their ex.
Yeah, I went under the assumption that they both did not text each other.
Yeah.
Which means Jisoo had to have texted Tae for the rest of my logic to work. Because Jisoo got 0 texts.
Right.
And then Wanbin says in a confessional that he would be sad if Jisoo didn't get any texts.
Oh, this poor sweet boy.
Well, but that means he's like still rooting for her. Like he doesn't.
She may have destroyed him, but he doesn't wish her ill. Yeah.
He doesn't want her to be unhappy. It's just like he got hurt so bad that he can't put himself out. He can't put himself out there to get hurt in the same way again.
Which just like makes him just even more adorable that he's just out here worrying about her and like, ugh.
Yeah.
I just hope he finds someone nice. This is now my focus on the season. Wanbin having a good time.
Is Wanbin a little full of shit here though? Before this is all said and done, is he gonna try to get back with Jisoo? That's what. Is that the story here?
It might be.
Seems a little too confident that he's like, yeah, no way, no chance. But I'm totally coming on this show anyway. Like,
yeah, that might happen.
Something about that seems wrong, but we'll see. And then Wanbin gets 1 text.
It says, "Don't cry. I hope you're happy here."
Which really seems like it's from Jisoo.
Yeah, but it's not.
But it's not. I think, again, it was edited kind of weird, but I think they intended to say it was not from his ex.
Right.
And then I have this is from Nayeon.
Yeah.
And they grocery shop together, so that kind of makes sense.
That makes sense.
I feel good about my predictions, assuming there's no X's in the house.
Yeah, I didn't reason all of them out and write them down ahead of time, but I agree. I agree with what you picked. Then it's not over. Like, more shit happens. This is the longest day.
This is still day 1. We're on episode 2. It's still day 1. It's kind of crazy.
The doorbell rings again. They get another letter. They're allowed to go to this special room that, for whatever reason, is at the top of the long hill.
Yeah, they had to go to the top of the stairs again.
They're all, like, in their pajamas in the middle of the night, climbing up this tall hill.
That's how you get to the chat room, Sarah. That makes sense.
Yeah. Which is just 2 rooms.
The chat room is literally a room.
It's literally 2 rooms because you're not allowed to be in the same room.
They go to a chat room to enter a chat room.
Yeah, an actual chat room. They've got like a computer and headphones, so I guess they can't hear the person on the other side of the wall or whatever. And then they get to chat with their ex for a little while, which is like,
yeah,
weird. I don't know.
I was wondering how they do this. Like, at first I was thinking like, oh, they must have 4 of these rooms, but maybe they don't. Maybe it's like they just go in one by one. But production must be like separating the guys from the girls. So
yeah,
that they,
yeah,
don't
definitely.
See which of them is
who
going
goes in
the,
when. Yeah.
This scene actually. Have you ever watched The Circle on Netflix?
I have not.
So in the Circle is like it's a reality TV show, not competition, but you only like communicate with each other through this app called The Circle, like a social media app called The Circle. So you you never get to like see somebody's true identity. You only get to see their like profile. So people are like catfishing and pretending to be other people, but it doesn't actually matter.
Is this the show where one woman pretended to be one of either the Backstreet Boys or the NSYNC boys?
She pretended to be Lance Bass.
Right.
Because she was
she's
like
his
Bass's
assistant
dog walker
or something. Oh, yeah. Okay. I've heard of that much of this show.
Yeah. But in that show, it's like you have to like rank everybody in the social media app, and then whoever gets like the highest average ranking, the 2 people, they get to go like up into this chat room, and they get to talk about who they want to like vote out of the game.
Oh.
And it's very much like this, where like they have the cameras, so like it looks like there's a wall between them, and they're like both chatting on a computer, but they're facing each other, but they can't see each other or hear each other.
Okay.
So it's very similar to that. And I feel like, are they going to reuse this chat room at some point, but it's going to be like not exes talking to each other?
Ooh, maybe.
Because in this episode, only the exes are going to be talking to each other, but they could have like gates where it's like you don't even know who you're talking to necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This seems like it's a new mechanic, right? Like this didn't happen in season 1 based on how
Yeah, the
people were
reaction of
reacting.
yeah.
But I kind of liked this.
Yeah.
I thought it was
They do that same thing they did in the first episode where they met in the cafe and they like showed different people responding to each other and like clearly they're not talking to each other, you know, they're flipping through so you don't know who's talking to.
That part's a little annoying because I'm trying to figure things out and I feel like it's like, oh, like all this data is garbage because we don't know who's talking to who. But I think the purpose of it wasn't necessarily to help us, the audience. It was more of just like to move along the, like if the X's, they want the X's to like talk to each other earlier in the game. I don't know how like season 1 went, but I think they would just want the X's to talk to each other earlier than later so that they can like feel out where their relationship is at and then move forward with other relationships if they feel like, okay, we're not going to get back together now. Let's stop thinking about that. So I'm guessing that in season 1, like some people got too hung up on their ex and like didn't do the show the way they wanted them to potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking that also it would help someone like Yihoon who can't like be secretive about her ex, like the desire to talk to them, getting to do that so they don't do it in person and mess up the whole show.
Oh, maybe. that could be.
Like sure get it out of your system and
I'm sure there's some plan in advance, but
I just use her as an example because like she's clearly not got her secretive shit together.
Yeah. So the way this actually goes down, we jumped ahead, but they get another alert. And the alert just says, you may talk to your ex. Which I feel like at first, at least the hosts or somebody, they made it seem like, oh, like they can just like text each other freely.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it made it seem. But do you think like this chat room twist is what they meant by the you can talk to your ex? Or do you think they do have more, like they can just text each other whenever they want?
No, because why would you need the chat room then?
Yeah. I hope that's what it is. I feel like if you could text each other on your phones, it'd be like, you could just see who's texting each other.
Yeah.
Like if they're allowed to do it whenever they want. Yeah. So it has to just be these chat rooms. Okay. The doorbell rings and they get a letter that just says, enter the chat room now. And and the contestants have no idea what this means. So this really must be something new. They're like, how do you enter a chat room? What does that even mean?
The answer is climb up this big long hill.
Yeah, they basically are on computers and they can only talk to their exes via chat. Yeah. I don't know why. I guess why couldn't they just put them in a room and have them talk?
Because then
there's probably something like, what you're willing to say in text like isn't necessarily what you would say to their face kind of thing.
And maybe it's easier to be like, okay, this is your time limit. You're cut off now.
Maybe. I'm guessing they're doing it because I think it's like, I think they think doing it via chat room will get the ex couples to hash out whatever they need to hash out as fast as possible. That's what I think. Because they've already met each other before the show in person. And and still some of them are saying like, I really feel like I need to talk to my ex. It's like, didn't you talk before?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's what I can see why the show did what they did here.
Yeah.
It seems like it's paying off, at least for the one couple that we know of for sure, where Jisoo is going to get the sense that
Wonbin's done with her.
Is not interested.
Yeah.
Not 100%, but definitely a lot less than she was expecting.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through things you noticed? They basically do kind of a montage of everybody chatting with each other. Did you have anything important you want to go through?
I have some notes that like the chatting made Tae want to cry. He was already having some feelings about not getting texted by his ex. So my guess is that he's the one that came on the show and went, hey, girl, come on. Like, he seems more invested in that past relationship than she does.
So you think he invited her on the show? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that adds up. Yeah, I wrote it was really hard to follow, like who was sending messages and who was receiving messages and whether or not those messages were actually related to each other.
Right.
So, yeah. Mostly it's a lot of like rehashing the introduction letters.
Yeah.
And they say like, when I read that, it made me feel this way, which is kind of this, and some of it's like the same as what we saw in the confessionals. So it's not necessarily new information.
Mm-hmm. I did like that both Jiyeon and Nayeon are both like, well, I got a text that said you didn't pick me. Like, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. If they don't have an ex in the house, like they show
what are they doing right now?
Yeah. That I don't know. Maybe they do all just have an X in the house.
Yeah, I think they must.
Yeah.
Like
I
if
mean,
they add more people later,
it's
then it's just like you're adding a former couple. It's so weird.
yeah. I mean, it's possible. Like they're in a chat room, right? So it's like they could just be talking to the person who's not on the show.
And maybe
Yeah,
that's why it is the chat room instead
that
of
could
in
be why it
person.
is. Yeah. So yeah, that's possible. I think I picked up on this one. I think Gion asks her ex, "How do you feel about seeing me again?" And then her
Hmm.
ex wrote back, "It bugs me. I don't know how to describe it." Does that feel like something that Mingi would have written? Not really, right? I don't know.
No.
Not necessarily. I mean, he could have written it, but he definitely wouldn't say that to like a person he just met, I feel like. But
Yeah,
these people have history, so anybody
that's
could really
true.
have said anything. Yeah.
But we do get a bit from Human where he says his ex keeps asking like who he chose and if he liked anyone. And he says like he'd find it cute if she was his girlfriend, but she's not anymore. So he's like annoyed. But it sounds kind of like Gion because she was the one that was really interested in her ex, right? Like, which is against our
Um,
former theory, but like it feels kind of like that goes together a little bit now.
because Human's ex was asking a lot of questions about who he was into now.
Yeah, like she's trying to like figure out like
Uh,
if she has a
maybe.
chance or like she's really she's not being chill about it necessarily, you know?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, Jisoo is gonna ask similar questioning to Wanbin, so I don't know how much of that is just they all kind of ask similar questions that way, you
I
know?
guess that's true.
Yeah, again, like I didn't write that much down from this because I just didn't feel like it felt like I could easily be being tricked, so I didn't put a lot of
That is true.
investment
Yeah.
into any of this information, yeah. But then we gotta get the wrap up of the Wanbin Jisoo
Yeah.
relationship status when we get to see their conversation in its entirety. Well, not its entirety, but we know it's actually them talking to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Jisoo seems a little jealous that One Bean
Yeah.
didn't text her,
Mhm.
that texted someone else.
Not that she texted
It
him either, but like still.
yeah. I don't know what the like okay, so like you invite somebody on this show, right? And then night
Mhm.
one you have to text somebody. Do you feel like there's pressure to text that person, or do you feel like there's pressure not to text that person so you don't seem too
Um
forceful, or I don't know.
yeah.
I feel like there's something there.
The letter probably also has a lot to do with it. Like she got the vibe from the letter that he's not into her anymore, so that might have influenced her to
He didn't
not
want
text
yeah.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like by the end of this, like she says like I guess I didn't know, but I guess I still have feelings for you. So like she says that in this chat that they have. So even though
Yeah.
she didn't send him a message, she's still on team
She got
Wanbin for
lucky.
now.
She got
Yeah.
lucky that they got to do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, though, it just really seems that like the way things are going is just not how Jisoo envisioned it at all. Like
Yeah.
she thought like Wanbin would be super open to
Mhm.
potentially getting back together, and that it would be like she thought it would be harder for him to come on the show than it would be for her to be on the show. And because
Yeah.
he's very like it seems like he's so not willing to get back together, Jisoo's actually like struggling with it more than Wanbin
Yeah.
is.
This is a great reason why not to come on this show. Cause like imagine bringing your ex to this show, they hook up with somebody else, and like you never even get any texts. It's like from Singles Inferno when Sejong didn't get to go to Paradise at all. If her ex was Jin Young, who went on every single date available, I'm like, that would be the worst, and I feel like this might happen to her.
I don't think so. I say Jisoo, keep being cute.
Somebody will pick her.
Give
Okay,
Wanbin a couple days to settle down.
and he'll come back. Okay,
Jisoo will get her chance.
okay. But if not, oh, devastating.
I mean, obviously she's gonna have to apologize or at least be somewhat aware,
Mm,
show that she was aware of what she did to him in some capacity. And I feel
yeah.
like if she can apologize and make Wanbin feel like she's a different person now, it's pretty
Yeah.
easy to envision that Wanbin would just be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, I see," and then get back together. I think it's totally possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think like Jisoo read Wanbin's tears as like a positive for him maybe wanting to get back together and didn't
Yeah.
realize that it was like, oh, those were painful tears.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Wanbin says he's not sure if he has feelings for her anymore. But then she admits that she still has feelings.
Right. I can't tell if that's him just like trying to be nice to her or if he's actually being honest with himself or not, you know? Like I think he still does have feelings for her, but
I think he still does, but it's fair in his own head for him to say he's not sure because he actually it's probably really just like his rational mind is telling him that he should not be interested in her anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But he's on the show, so
yeah.
There's got to be something. And then Wonbin says, I wanted someone else to make you happy. It says it in the past tense, which is weird. I'm not sure if that's just the translation, but...
Well, because he says, like, the whole time they were together, he felt bad for her, and he wanted someone else to make her happy. So I think, like, that does play into what you said about maybe he was, like, not being successful at getting a job, and, like, he was feeling like he couldn't take care of her. And so he was feeling inadequate in that way.
Yeah. To me, when I first read it, I was like, it kind of read like, oh, I wanted someone else to make you happy, but now I want to make you happy. But that doesn't line up with anything else he was saying. So I just thought it was weird that it was past tense.
Mm-hmm.
But it also kind of makes it sound like he decided he wasn't good enough and he broke up with her. Doesn't it also say? I don't think that's what happened. But
yeah, I don't think so either. But it does have that like
he might be trying
vibe.
to rewrite history a little bit here. And then I wrote down most of Wonbin's confessional that we get after their chat. Okay. He says, back then, I wasn't good enough to provide what she wanted from me, but other people are more capable of doing it. I want her to be happy. That's
still such a nice boy.
Deep stuff there.
Yeah.
Man, we must know what happened.
I don't think we're gonna know
this good and not tell us what happened.
Oh, I think they can and will. Like, I don't think we're gonna get more details on this.
Okay. Oh man, it's hard to judge. It's hard to like take a side, though. I guess we don't have to take a side. It's just whatever happened.
I've taken a side. It's Wonbin's side. Poor precious little baby Wonbin. I hope he's happy.
Yeah, it feels that way. I mean, she came back, so it couldn't be something like that terrible, right? Like he couldn't have done something that terrible. Then she broke up with him, and now she wants to get back together. Like it has to be. Wonbin didn't do anything wrong, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like he didn't do anything wrong. Yeah.
But also, I'm not gonna be like, oh, Jisoo did him dirty because she wasn't feeling it anymore. I'm like, if she wasn't feeling it anymore, she wasn't feeling it anymore.
We know none of the actual details. It's all speculation.
Now I could be more judgmental if I knew the exact reason,
which is what we really want to do. So it would be nice if the show told us.
And Jisoo's confessional, she says, I wanted him to have feelings for me, but he doesn't. This prompts the host to talk about how they think, oh, this early chat room between the exes kind of helps the ex couples get over each other quicker, which I think is actually a fair point.
Yeah.
And a good strategy by the production.
But you think production wouldn't want them to get over it entirely, otherwise, like, you lose that whole tension, right? Like, and that's part of the thing.
Oh, I don't think tension between an ex will ever go away.
Okay.
I think the worst case scenario though is that like one person is hung up on their ex and like doesn't really participate in the rest of the show, and like but the entire time that ex was like was not interested in getting back together, but they like never talk it out, so the one person doesn't realize it. I think that's like the worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's
so. Now they don't necessarily have to hash out their issues because of these chat rooms, but the show is giving them like, you know, every opportunity possible to realize that one of them is not ever like, one of them is at least over each other, the other one, and they can find out as fast as possible. So I think that's a good strategy.
Yeah, I don't want to get frustrated like I was with Singles Inferno again when people were just hung up on one person the whole time and
but that paid off.
Anything else.
That paid off real good. So
I guess.
One of the greatest TV moments of all time. And then they finally get to go to sleep there.
Yep, finally.
Anything you wanted to talk about before they go to bed? It shows some stuff. Wonbin keeps a journal.
Of course he does. This is so cute.
They're trying to create this like bromance between Wonbin and Tae. Like they don't talk to each other, but they just like hang out and do their thing, and then they decide like subconsciously that it's time to go to bed at the same time. I don't know. Like they're part of the same organism or so. I don't know what they're trying to say.
there was a really funny moment that happened earlier, I think, before they went to the chat room, where Wanbin's on the top bunk, just peeking over, being real cute at Tae, and he's like, "Hey, I didn't want to ask you this in front of everybody else, because that would be embarrassing. But did anybody ever tell you that you look like Wanbin?" And he's just like, no one has ever said that to me. And Wanbin's like, oh, okay.
How many people
really
do you think Wanbin has said this to in his life? I was thinking like almost everybody.
You think it's his like move to be like, I
Like,
want to talk about Wanbin some more?
New roommate in college says this to them. Yeah, probably.
Maybe. I don't know. It was just a cute moment I thought was funny. So, if they have a fun little bromance, that would be great.
Yeah. But it's like a silent bromance. That's what's weird about it. The show was like, they do their own things independently and then go to bed.
They just get each other. It's fine.
They understand that they have nothing in common and don't try to force it.
Yeah.
All right. That's the end of episode 2. Hopefully the end of day 1.
Do you think we'll get to some dates in episode 3?
They might wake them up in the middle of the night. You never know.
Yeah, solid maybe. This is the longest day.
Yeah. And the next time, though, the previews. Seems like they're going to get to reveal their jobs.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't look like dates. And I was hoping that there would be dates by episode 3.
There is going to be something with dates, though. I don't know if they're going to get to it, but it's then there's the part where it seems like someone is recognizable, and once they tell them their job, they're going to be like, I knew that was you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, maybe that's Tae, and maybe that would explain some things.
Maybe.
My guess is it's Tae, but I don't know. And then the very end was they get a letter in the mailbox that says, you'll go on a date in the place the male participant went with his ex.
Oh, right. This is like...
Which is a super
the
weird
worst
choice.
idea for a date.
Yeah, what the hell? This is like a super weird choice.
Gonna take you to the place that was
I
significant
feel like
to me and my
both
ex.
the guy and the girl don't want to do this. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Unless somebody takes their ex on this date and then they can be like, remember, we came here before? But hopefully they don't let any exes together.
I don't know if that's possible. But the way it's going to work, it seems, is that like they're going to choose keywords that would indicate where the date might be. And then the women have to decide amongst themselves which keyword they want to choose. And then the keyword
exes could go together.
They could, but yeah, I guess like the ex that's amongst the women could identify which keyword is their ex and then try to choose it intentionally if they want.
Or it could happen accidentally.
It could happen accidentally too if they just like don't remember the importance of the date, because it's like it must be an important date to the guy, right? But it's maybe the woman won't even recognize it potentially.
But like they're probably gonna do rock paper scissors to choose the order of picking, so it could even just be the last person gets stuck with their ex accidentally.
That is probably how they'll do it, unless people just say what they want and they don't overlap somehow. But yeah, it feels like they would have to rock paper scissors most likely. Yeah Seems like it's going to continue to be explosive. I don't know if they'll get to the date in the 3rd episode. They didn't show in the preview them actually going on a date.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening yet.
But yeah, still having a good time with this show.
Oh yeah,
I feel like we've nailed these guesses to the best of our abilities, at least. If we knew specifically like exes are not in the house or something like that, we could make
that would be some
guesses.
Information that would be good. Yeah
Feels like we must be pretty close to right.
Yeah, I'm confident we're good at this. It's fine.
So what are we doing next, Sarah?
That's an excellent question. I have no idea.
I feel like I want to keep going with Transit Love 2.
Yeah, I'm having a good time. People seem to enjoy it.
Definitely gonna keep podcasting about Transit Love 2. Just a matter of, do we take a break for an episode and talk about something else? Just to break it up a little bit.
Yeah. Do you have anything in mind?
2 other options that I have. We could break down the entire season of Physical 100. That could be an episode.
Okay.
Seems like some listeners are interested in that.
Yeah.
Or on March 15th, I believe, the season 3 premiere of Ted Lasso.
Ooh.
is coming out. And I was thinking, in the past, for shows that are like a new season is being released, we've done like a
Recap of the old seasons.
Yeah. What I was thinking for Ted Lasso is that we could just watch episode 1 of season 3, and then as we're going through that, we could like reminisce about things that happened in season 1 and 2 that we think are important to remember going into season 3. So it's kind of like a recap / remembering of season 1 and 2.
Okay, I like that.
Get us both caught up.
Are you prepared to deal with your nemesis, Apple TV, again? Is the real question.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to. I don't know. You want to do a Twitter poll?
Yeah, let's do a Twitter poll.
So when we release this episode,
we'll
also put up a Twitter poll, and
you can tell us what to do next.
We'll put Transit Love 2 episode 3, Physical 100 the full season, or Ted Lasso season 3 episode 1 with remembering season 1 and 2. Or you can put in other options, Sarah.
Yeah, and then you can just
to see if people just don't want to hear any of the stuff, the options. And then people can leave a comment.
Yeah.
If they want
something
else specific. And if you're not on Twitter, feel free to email us or contact us by the other methods that Sarah will tell you about right now.
Yes. If you want to email us, you can email us at keepwatchingpod@gmail.com. Our Twitter is keepwatchingpod. You can Instagram at us at keepwatchingpod, or you could leave a comment on the video on YouTube also at keepwatchingpod. And even though we're not exes, if you want to write a letter to introduce us to other people, you can leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
So much good stuff to talk about right now. It feels good. And it feels like we wanted to. We could talk about Transit Love, and then the next Korean dating show, and then the next Korean probably for the rest of our lives, Sarah.
Yeah, there are a lot of them.
One episode every couple of weeks for the rest of our lives, probably. And it would be a good time.
Yeah.
But I want to know if people want to hear other stuff when it's relevant.
Yeah. So let us know.
Let us know. Alrighty. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.